So say, just kind of message. Beautiful day. My name is Elvis. She licking your hands because you have tuna on?
No, because I had that sauce. Probably part of that.
I was just sitting here admiring my new table that I got from the compliments yard. And then I was like thinking, I hope they have that on the curb and not just cleaning out their garage.
Mm.
Why? It's nice looking, isn't it? It's very Christmassy. I washed it and sprayed off some of the paint.
I'm gonna take her on a walk.
Okay. I texted little Thomas. Our oldest son is coming home from college today. Somebody said, you knew he was coming home. I was like, well, I thought it was going to be tomorrow.
Hi.
Well, here I was. I'm late.
Yes, I am frustrated.
I had to eat.
Help me. I'm starving.
I had to eat my onion ring bacon cheeseburger.
From where?
From Waterman's, our local watering hole.
That sounds wonderful. That sounds great.
It was really good. So I went up there. Look how easy this was.
Oh, easy. How are
Gary
you?
has to be off very sharply so she doesn't get in trouble with the driver's ed.
I'm always
Yell
in trouble.
teacher.
Exhausting.
So I went to pick up Thomas and I something for dinner because little Thomas comes home tonight from college. And I'm going to ask you, Carrie, when your people get home. Anyway, so I was like, well, I'm not going to cook because he's not here yet. So I went up there and I was like, I'm going to get a bacon cheeseburger with onion rings on it. And he got tuna. And this friend was there, he and his son, and the mother wasn't there. I said, where's she? And they're like, she's busy. So I sat with them for takeout and we just sat and talked, and I had a dirty martini and just
Ooh.
I know Kate and I love dirty martinis.
I like dirty martinis.
I haven't
You
had one
do?
in months. It's been ages. Like I would say, I don't know why. Just it's been ages.
I had to walk home. I'm a little loopy. So little Thomas comes home. Carrie, your people are not home yet, right?
No, they start trickling in. Friday, Charlie comes. Sunday, Jack comes home. And then Wednesday, my oldest and the girlfriend come home.
So Wednesday, everyone's home.
Wednesday, everybody will be home until after the New Year. Because we're all taking a ski trip from January 2nd through the 5th.
Oh, I thought you were going before Christmas.
No, I'm looking back. I kind of wish I'd planned it that way, but it'll be fine.
Oh,
but,
I like
yes,
being home before Christmas. That's the fun time to be
I
home.
do too, but I can sense that my oldest will get restless being home so long because his girlfriend is only here 3 nights.
Well, thank God.
But he's in an apartment. It's like having a grown-up come home. So
do they still have all
21?
their same? Oh, sorry.
He's 21.
Yeah.
Yep, he's 21. The rooms have shifted a bit. So my kids always shared, except for Rose, and it was Jack and Henry. Then Jack, Henry, and Charlie for the longest time, and then Joseph was in there too. And then Joseph moved off. Then Charlie moved off into this like room above our garage, and it was just Jack and Henry. And when Jack left, Henry completely took over the room. So now Jack
As
stays,
he should.
as he should. Jack stays in the basement when he comes, which is finished. It has it's a sleep number bed. I mean, it's very comfortable. 3 TVs.
You have a guest room down there.
Essentially.
I'll say when my parents like got rid of my room right away. Like they turned into a room for my nephew.
Of course they did.
Oh,
And so then there's so many things I could say, but
I wish you would.
I get it. I worried about that for Jack.
Yeah.
Like, did he feel pushed out, because it happened so fast?
I don't know. Like I could for me,
Normal.
joke and say like I felt pushed out. It wasn't that. I just like lost my comfort.
Mm.
Like So where I was going with that is like if Joey's coming home for all this time, it's like, does he have a room to like go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a room. But now my parents were divorced and my father had visitation. So we went there every other weekend to his house with his new wife. First, it was a different house. Anyway, but we never had our own room.
Mhm.
And I always felt like we were just floating around like all day.
Uh-huh.
My dad's house too.
Yeah, like we just had no space of our own. We slept together all in the basement. So I
Oh.
know I did worry about that. Now Jack is concerned because when the girlfriend's here, she will sleep in the basement. But Jack has decided he and Charlie will be roommates for those days.
So Jack is not going to sleep in the basement while the girlfriend
No.
is there.
Oh no, that would be because our basement,
How
it's
did
not
you
a bed.
how did you broach the subject with Jack?
Well, he knew she came last year, so he checked in on what dates is she coming and what is the arrangement. And last year we said you can either go up in well, really it's the only space. You can go up into Charlie's room, which Charlie's a very big room. But downstairs, it's not like a bedroom, and then the basement is like one huge room.
That's what you said. It's like a bed. I think you shared a picture one time. There's like a bed out in the open.
Yeah, it's kind of out in the open. And so
That's a
her down there with him
commitment.
would not be
How did you
comfortable
decide
for
to put a bed in the children's playroom?
Is that what you're trying to do, you said?
No, I'm asking you how you came to that decision.
Oh, yeah, it was not smart at all because the teenagers have parties down there, and I'm like, who knows what goes on?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real commitment.
But you just needed. So this is interesting. So we have 4 bedrooms upstairs.
Yeah.
And we're bursting at the seams, or busting at, however you say that. Because so Harbor and Winnie share a room, and they shouldn't be. Winnie needs her own space. She's a terrible sleeper. Then Sawyer has his own room. Cooper has his own room. And then me and Jamie. And I'm in this downstairs room, and this is I turned it into my office because I had the space of my own. So we
Does
lost
it still
our
have the
bedroom.
bed in there? Did you get rid of it? That's my room.
Nope. So it's like a futon thing.
No more bed for me.
So we lost our guest room, and that's a real problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem. Do you have a guest room, Adrian?
Well, yes, but I really want to make it my office.
Well, I figured we have people stay twice, if even
We-
twice a year.
And
Well,
don't have anybody
yeah.
stay.
That's so
want it.
we have 5 bedrooms. We have 6 bedrooms.
Oh, that's a lot.
We have 5 upstairs and 1 down. And the people that lived here before us had 4 children. And so the bedrooms are not necessary. Well, 2 are pretty small, but they just wanted everybody to have their own space. So, but of course, Amos sleeps in our room, so we only use 1 bedroom.
Oh,
And
that's
but this is the guest room. And
You're frozen for a minute.
that looks comfy. I'd stay there.
yeah, this is the guest room, but the guest room would be such a nice office.
Yeah.
I thought about taking over Charlie's room when he left to be like my space. It's huge, but there's no good Wi-Fi.
Well, you have a good office.
Your
dear.
office looks huge. Is it huge? I've never seen
It's
the whole thing.
It's huge, so I'll tell you why. So we have an old house, like it was built in the 80s, and it looks like where I'm sitting would have been a bedroom, like an in-law bedroom, because we have a full bathroom downstairs, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So for a while we used this as a dining room. We never really used a dining room, and then I put a big window seat in, and it's very big. Like I have a big table for a desk, and then this kind of sitting area. So I'm very comfortable here. It was just, sometimes you're like, well, maybe I'll just change this.
Oh,
for
yeah,
no, no reason. And then I'm
My
like,
office is small.
Well, see, the problem it's funny how it really depends on the phase of life that you're in. And I wouldn't have understood this years ago. But so I put this office in the basement because I needed to write our book. And this was my saving grace.
During COVID.
Yeah.
You were doing this.
Well, I wasn't here during COVID, but the second book that we just wrote. But now it's really hard for me to come down here because I have to have my eyes on my people.
Yes.
So if I come down here, they are tearing apart the house. I mean, they're 3 and 6. So I don't get to come down here. It's funny. It's I'm just not in that space yet.
You mean because like here, I'm in this really comfy room right on the other side of me through French doors. It's like Joe and I used to share this smaller office space, but it was great for me because it faced the backyard and it was off the family room. So no matter where they were, I was kind of like still involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I come down here to do videos and stuff now, but I can't come down here if I'm alone with them.
And then do you hear them like around, like, is that distracting for you? Do you hear them walking around now?
So it's funny that you mentioned that. So when I did my audiobook, I did that here because it was COVID and I did it here. And you have to have complete silence. Adrian, they sent me these like headphones and these insane mics, and you have producers in your ears talking to you.
Yeah.
And it needs to be, I'm telling you, our furnace, I had never heard it before. It was like February, they made me shut my furnace off because it was moving chairs,
Yep.
dogs, toenails. They could hear Jamie peeing
Yeah.
upstairs. And so if you read my text messages at the time, I shared it to my supporters as a joke. I'm like, stop peeing, stop peeing, stop drinking, stop peeing.
Like a camel.
I couldn't work. Yeah. But so, yes, I don't notice it now, but like during then, it was so loud.
Well, the audio thing is right. I just want to take a moment because you just reminded me, our audio is 85% off for people right now. Like there's a huge deal, which is really rare for Audible. So check that out. But when I did my audio, I did it in a tiny sound booth, but they had me stop because they heard my shirt rustle.
It's so stressful, Adrian.
Don't
and like
tell her. Don't tell her. It's fun. It's really
it's
fun.
But then they'll let's take that again. Let's take a break.
You know, you kind of trailed off. You sound a little nasally. Did you have a lisp as a kid? Yes, James, I did. Thank you. I talk like that.
I'm doing my Audible recording in Miami.
You are?
I didn't know that.
Well, it's in February, and I thought, I try to go visit my parents every month or every 6 weeks, as I like to go visit my parents. And I was like, well, if I'm gonna if I have to go to Raleigh, because I'm not like y'all, I can't just like shoot up the street to film or do whatever. I'm gonna have to drive 2 hours. I might as well fly 2 hours.
Oh, good idea.
So it's in Miami. And I was already thinking like that might be a bad idea. Like I'm gonna do that all day and then go home and have my dad be like, well, I guess we're not even gonna see you because you're recording the book.
But I only have 2 days slotted. Do you guys
No,
only
I only have 1 day. They gave me 1 day, and I'm like, are they sure? Do they know me?
That doesn't sound. Not because it's you. I have two. We all have the same
It should
amount.
be 2
of
days and then a day for pickups.
I swear mine is
usually
1
later,
day.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Mine are 2 days at 3. Really, they don't want you more than 3 or 4 hours because your voice can't.
I think mine is a full day.
So with Forever Boy, I did 5 days in a row, 6 hours a day.
Oh, your book was longer than mine. Mine was 3 4-hour days. My first book. Yeah.
But
it's
people love the audio. And I'll tell you, I just got into audiobooks. So I've always been, I want to hold the book. I want to smell the book. I want to touch the book. I have a bookshelf.
She wants to lick the book.
But I don't have time to read anymore. So I listen to audio in the car. It is the most delightful thing. I had no idea what I was missing.
I have not listened yet because I do have more time to read, but I love I use a Kindle.
Yeah.
I like an audio, but I really like it. So because the same reason, Kate, if I am doing laundry or cleaning out somebody's closet, and I'll be like, you know what? I haven't read Farmer Boy in a while by Laura Ingalls Wilder. I'm gonna work through that series.
Yeah.
And they take so long. So it's like a 12-hour book.
Yes.
So I enjoy that. Now, I did recently try to listen to one. If it's too complicated, I found that I couldn't do it. But I have yet to find a book like ours with 3 different authors reading their portions. I think it's going to be, I literally am excited to buy this Audible book myself.
Yeah.
To hear y'all read it.
Yeah. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they're not like Adrian has a lisp because she has braces.
No, you don't have a lisp. I don't hear it.
I have something, but it might be my barbecue in my teeth.
Oh, God.
So
I just remember for What Colors Monday, I worked with a director. I didn't the second time.
Director.
For a million reasons that were terrible. I hired this
Take
guy.
1, take 2.
No, he'd be like, okay, okay, so when you do a chapter like, you know, Paperboy is the name one of you headline it, Paperboy. And then it's like, don't start like that. Start with your mouth open. So you don't start like, and when Jack was born. So it was like all these little things. Like don't start with your like a click. Like, and then I reevaluated the whole way I even have a conversation with people. I'm like, am I clicking away all the time?
You are sort of clicky.
Clicky. I know. My whole body's clicky.
Now I want to go buy that one.
What color is Monday?
Mm-hmm.
On sale.
So wait, I didn't really have a topic. You said, do you have a topic? And I was like, I'm going to have one. And then I thought, I just want a funny night, a fun, lighthearted night, because 2 weeks from today is Christmas
Oh.
Eve.
Oh gosh.
Indeed.
That's unfunny.
I have a question though. Like I have an autism related question. Can I ask
Well, I don't
it?
know if we're going to ask it, but you can ask it. We might not answer it.
Oh.
So Carrie, I was
Take
checking
two.
my and
Headline it.
email went out to every 8th grader in our school district
Oh,
to
this
come
does
open
not feel
house
good.
for high school.
Okay.
And I teared up. And so I forwarded it to his case manager and she's like, yeah, no, you don't need to go to that. We'll set up meetings at the high school. And I said, is there any way that I don't have to get these emails? Because they're like a punch to the gut. But I had a question for you. I don't know a lot about where Jack went to high school. I know you say it was out of district placement. Was it for kids with autism and what, like all levels?
So it started.
And what do you mean out of district? Like not in your own school district or part of your district?
Tell more.
He was not in our home district. However, he could participate in activities in the district. Like he was inclined to go to the prom or play soccer for one of our teams. He could do that. He never did. So he was referred out of district, meaning our home district could not support him anymore. Okay. So it was a school, very small school, about 15 minutes away. It was in like a strip. It was in like not a strip mall, but like an office park. I mean, it didn't look like a school, didn't have lockers or a cafeteria or anything like that.
And did they have to agree to have him there? Like if we wanted to go to another district here, you have to go to a school board meeting and get permission to go there. Is that
we
what you
did
had
that?
to do?
Yes. And so it varies. The one where he went was not private pay. So you couldn't say, well, he's just not making it, but you won't refer us, so we're going to pay to go here. You had to be referred.
Oh.
We had the same kind of meeting.
Public school, but lots of different districts were there.
Lots of different districts were there. And they wouldn't commit to taking him until they got that referral. So it was like this song and dance in the beginning of the summer where we knew that's where we wanted him to go, but we had to go through some hoops to make sure they were going to refer him. What I understand is the big sticking point is transportation. That's what's the most expensive. And they agreed to transportation and a full district referral. So he started in the main part of the school, and it was a mixed type of student. Like every profile was different, some autism, but primarily dyslexia. And so with Jack coming on board, the director realized they had enough of his kind of profile where they started like an offshoot of it, of the main program. So he was in this sort of side program with, it would vary like 10 to 12 kids at a time with like 4 to 5 staff.
So what I know that's different language in different states. So we have this self-contained district where all the other districts feed into it, and it's called a Federal 4 setting.
I've heard you say
yes. So it's its own school, just kids with disabilities. And it's like what you're describing. Like some of them are in like an office park. Like they may not look like a school. But like it has to get pretty dire. Everything has to fail to get them there. It's really hard to get them there. Was Jack having big behaviors? Like why did he have to go there?
He was having terrible behaviors, lashing out. He was like, for reasons we cannot determine to this day, even if you ask him, he kind of went after a kid there. I haven't told you this story. No. Jack's not a physical guy, but he would say he had this little friend group, like 2 sort of awkward kids just like him. And they sort of bonded and they did stuff at recess. And then in came this 4th, very well-intentioned boy who wanted to join the gang. That's what I would hear every day. He cannot join the gang.
Oh.
And it
Yeah.
created this like chaos in him. And every day he would lose his mind. He
Yep.
started not being able to ride the bus.
Yep.
I pick him up. And actually the real like turning point is still emotional for me. So he had a para that he'd been with for three years, a young guy. And I just think at that point they were done with each other. They were on each other's
Yep.
nerves a lot.
Yep.
And I get it. And so the last day of 6th grade, all the kids go to this fun park. It's like there's go-karts, there's this and that. Looking back, this bothers me so much, but we all did the best we could. They made Jack sign a contract saying you will behave that day. And if you don't behave, you have to go home. We're all like navigating this, like, okay, we'll have him sign the contract. And he did it. And he got up that morning, you know, they all wore matching t-shirts and they had ordered their lunch ahead of time. It was a big deal for him.
Yeah.
And when he got there, they decided he couldn't ride the go-karts. They said, you're not, even though he was not yet like losing it at all. They said, we don't think you're safe enough to ride the go-karts. And he went nuts.
But that would set a neurotypical kid off.
He's seeing them
That would set
all grown.
That would set me up.
I mean, I still, you know, and they called me to pick him up. And I like couldn't figure out what all the chaos was about because I couldn't like get the straight answer. What really broke my heart, and I don't know why, you know, it's like the tiniest details that lodge for you.
Yes.
What shattered me was that he'd ordered that lunch for himself, you know, that cheeseburger.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a highlight for him, you know what I mean? Like I'm going to get lunch with everybody. And we had to leave before that was possible.
Mm-hmm.
And he was out of his mind the whole way home. And I think that miscalculation on everybody's part really landed us the out of district referral. It was kind of like, we're not supporting him well. We're asking way too much of him. So we were really fortunate that it was one meeting around a big table with his whole team. And then it was nothing more than that. We didn't need mediation or anything like that. But
were you worried at all about him being not with neurotypical peers anymore because he is higher functioning? Meaning, what we even worry about at Cooper's severity level is that he will sink down to behaviors, or we always want him to reach up. So it's like, that's what we feel like we'll lose.
we worried about that a lot. They say you never want yours. It's just like you don't want the most expensive house on the block. You never want to be the highest.
Yes.
And he wasn't the highest, but this population was very fluid, just like with the program where he is now. There's a lot of movement, like in and out. Oh, this one's not successful here. We're going to try something else. I didn't love the fluidity. And what Joe didn't love was once he became more of an offshoot, he no longer participated in the stuff that was kind of promised to us, like the day trips and they did an overnight camping. Well, he no longer like was eligible for all of that. So Joe still feels like they kind of sold us on a promise that wasn't.
Well, that's what I'm not going to speak. I don't like to speak ill of schools
Same.
ever.
Same.
I am so thankful for everything we get, but when they want to get rid of you, they're literally, I will tell you, we went and toured this school and it felt like an institution. I'm telling you, there were kids masturbating in the gym.
Oh.
And my husband, Jamie, is like the chillest. If you know Jamie, like you cannot get him fired up about like anything like educational, medical. We walked out and he grabbed my arm and he said, never. He will never go here. And I looked at him and I broke down crying. And I said, then you have to help me fight because they are pushing us out and I can't fight it alone.
Yeah.
And so they will promise you anything. So when we went back to that meeting, I looked at this woman and I said, do you really think that Cooper is at that level? And everyone around the table but her was like, no. And then she's like, I guess I had no idea. We walked to the school and she's like, look how amazing it is. I am telling you, there were kids laying on the floor, like in the hallways.
That is
like, I have a challenging kid. I want to be clear. I am not pie in the sky, but I was like, but so that bait and switch, that's a really common tactic and it's crushing.
well, yeah, you set your sights on what, like, you think like, well, I have the bad habit of being a little pie in the sky. Joe's the one that like tempers me. I'm always like, this is the next best thing. This is it. the perfect spot for him. And he's always like, well, let's slow down a little bit. Maybe they're adding, again, these were beautiful people who propelled Jack into a future we never imagined. It did feel a little like, okay, we got our number. We have the right number of kids with this profile to create something that's been in the back of our minds all this time. Like he was a little bit of a number.
But the part that I guess I don't understand then too is Jack graduated with a normal diploma, right? But so our Fed 4 schools don't do typical learning anymore. Like when you get to that point, like it's like no more. So that's interesting that they had enough kids that could do that.
So I think Carrie's school, Kate, and I live in a totally different place. We got one school, you either go there or you don't go anywhere. I mean, that's all there is. And which I can see the real benefit of because it has to work.
Yeah.
There's no plan B. You know, like there is Amos is with these typical peers because there's no plan B, which is good. I like that, you know, for him. Now, granted, could something be better? Yes, probably like other things could be better. But I bet Carrie's district, and Carrie, you would know, maybe has a different school, Kate, of that's what you're talking about.
They might. Yeah, like I've never heard of one, to be honest, but it's possible. There's a lot of different spaces that receive out of district referrals around us.
Carrie, I don't know how to word this correctly, but like we have a school here that's for naughty. Was that kind of what it was?
No, we do have one of those. It's like jail.
It's for behaviors for sure.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Because like Cooper wouldn't need to be at like a school for someone that like is fighting.
Right.
Yeah. But
he needs to.
Were there bad behaviors at Jack's school?
Oh, yes.
Well, I thought you said dyslexia. That to me doesn't go into.
Yes.
The main pool where he first started was primarily dyslexia, but then they sort of like collected all the Jack kids and moved them to this offshoot, and there were behaviors in this offshoot, and he was not alone. You know, he participated. I remember walking in the first day. I mean,
kids had disabilities.
Yeah, I think they were pretty much all autism.
Interesting. That's so interesting. I wonder if we have something like that here.
We have behaviors, but it's not disability. It's like juvie.
It's like pulling the fire alarm.
There's no disability.
Yes.
It's just bad.
No. They're all diagnosed.
No. But we don't have that. We have the school for the naughty, but they're not disability. They're just bad.
Got it.
The district center.
And you know, the population in where he was, I talk about this all the time, the duality, like they were physically 14, emotionally like 8. So their naughty was like, I'm going to pee in the corner. Right? I don't know. I'm making that up. But the first day we went, I mean, I could barely get him out of the car. I stood with him for 45 minutes in the parking lot just to start nudging him in. He was devastated to go to this school, simply devastated. He thought he would go. He'd say, I go with Joey. And
it also, I think it's hard. So this is just in comparison, it's hard to like leave a school like building. Like, it looks different, and it's all that. I mean, all those things.
And
I felt
he left the school. The last year he had is at a school called McKelvey here. And the next year he would have gone to a school called Lurgio. He never once stepped foot in Lurgio. He could not, except for one time for one of Charlie's baseball banquets. He could not bring himself to go back. He was so ashamed of having to leave. It was a big burden he carried. And I remember finally getting him into the building, and there was like this, again, you're like in an office building. There's like this small vestibule, and they had like a glass cabinet, I don't know why, full of things. And he looked at it, and the director said, don't you dare. Because she could already like play the tape forward of what he was going to do. He was going to smash that thing.
Oh.
He was so deregulated every single day. He never hurt anyone. But Jack his mouth writes checks that his body doesn't cash. And he's a talker. And I'm going to light this place on fire. And then I'm going to and I will get him. And, and so that alarms people.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, that's also interesting. Yeah, we have to, well, we're going to set up meetings and tour different
So are
places.
you thinking based on this email, like the high school is just not going to be right for him?
So we have two paths that we can take. So we can stay in public high school. We haven't been asked to leave. We can stay in public high school. And we have a lot of high schools here. So there's two options. One has a great autism program, from what I've heard. One is where Sawyer will go. It's right down the road. It does not have as much autism resources yet, but there's pros to all things, right? And then if we go the other path, it's that Fed 4 path, and the focus would be just with kids like him, and it would be more like going in the community, grocery shopping, riding the bus. So I really wrestle with, Cooper can read and he can spell and he can do some things. I don't want to say goodbye to that.
Yeah.
I always just wish someone would tell me what to do, but there's also a part of me, and I think some moms and dads can relate to this. I just don't want to worry so much anymore. I don't want to give up. I'm not giving up on Cooper. I will fight for Cooper for the rest of his life, but like waiting for the phone to ring is a stress. And I've heard at these Fed 4 schools, they know how to handle everything. So they're not going to call over something minor. They got it all handled. So.
And I would say that when we finally got there, and I mean, I was an emotional wreck by this point. I was like a shell of a person. I didn't know you guys then, but the toll it took on us as a family. I remember walking in and starting to give that dossier of Jack, right? Well, he doesn't love this. And if the fire alarm goes off, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I'll just never forget it. She was like, you're here now. By the time people get to us, they are on their last resort, and that was so comforting to me. And I did still get the occasional phone call, but for the most part, it's exactly like you said. They've seen everything.
I broke down once, not that long ago, on a Zoom with our pediatrician over Cooper's anxiety. Our pediatrician is this big man. He's like 6'5", Dr. Morrissey. He's like so calm. He's the perfect yin to my yang. I broke down and I said, I don't know how to do this anymore. No one's helping us. And he said something to me that was really powerful to me. He's like, Kate, you've never found the right setting for him. You've never found the right place. And so you constantly, and we've had good places. I want to be clear. We're in a good place now. Is it the perfect place? I don't know. And I think if we had that, I would be able to calm down.
I hear you, because that really was like, shh, for us.
But does it exist? I mean,
I don't think it exists.
I think at the end of the day, what we're really grappling with is the person we belong to. And we've all been raised and lived in a world that's meant for people not like them. And so it's constant every day of, well, why can't we fit? Why can't we fit? Why can't we fit? We cannot get that square in the circle.
I'm telling you, if I had unlimited funds and even more than that, unlimited access to good people, I would create a program for Cooper, and it wouldn't be school. I don't think Cooper needs to be in school just knowing who he is. I think he needs someone to come here and teach him maybe an hour or two a day, and then someone to take him in the community and do fun things. I think Cooper would learn more from practicing at a restaurant and going to a grocery store. And I know that your kids are just at different educational spaces, but where Cooper falls, I really think he would learn more from that. And the sad part is that it would have to be me, and then I can't work, and I can't. And so you have to choose, like, do you do the perfect thing for your child, or do you work and provide for your family? I can't imagine ever feeling that with Sawyer or Harbor, Winnie.
But let's be honest. Even if you didn't have to work, is that what you want to do?
No, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I love him.
And I don't think mothers, the lives are, so where we live, different than y'all. We have one high school, and there is kind of an EC, I guess, sort of a track you can take. You can take the path of the certificate track or the graduation track. And we are still in 4th grade on the graduation track-ish.
Awesome.
But we're really, it's like we're in a snowstorm, and do I think if we had access to maybe something like Carrie had, could Amos graduate? Maybe, like Carrie, I think you said they didn't have to take algebra or something. Like there were some, maybe. And then like Jack is in this college program. So you're seeing like the fruits of your labor. I think I kind of fall between the two of you. Like I want him to be the best person he can be. Do I see him with a job?
Mhm.
No. Maybe like a travel blogger, you know,
Mhm.
with his mother's
Mhm.
help. But I don't, I'm right in between. Like,
Yep.
are we wasting time? But he loves being with those typical peers. That is something Amos, I think, has more access to than either of your boys have
Yes.
had. Or
Yep. I agree.
and I do see that benefit. 60% him and 40% the other students, which at the end of the day, hold on, what?
Mhm.
I can hear you.
Mhm.
Like one ocean in Miami. At the 1,000. At the end of the day, like our kids have to live in this world, and all these little kids that are in his classes, they're going out into the world like to basically like sunflower seeds, you know,
Mhm.
and they're going to encounter the Jacks and the Coopers and the
Mhm.
Amoses, and they're going to remember. It's just so, boy, it's tricky.
It's so tricky because there is a grief thing that I went through where I realized I don't know how to word this eloquently. Like I just get really nervous. But like Cooper isn't going to graduate. Cooper
Right.
he isn't going to do all these things. And so at what point do I focus on helping him understand the world and then be happy in the world? Like if and he's in a good spot right now. Like he loves going to school and seeing his friends. He
And
really
helping the world understand him,
yeah, all of it, all of
which
it.
is just as much of a learning that that's the learning part that I don't think people that's so
Yeah.
important because it will benefit him or benefit our kids.
Can I just say though, so having 4 children and education works so perfectly for 3 of them, I would have never known what it was like to fight for everything or to not fit.
Never.
People don't believe us. Like they think that we're like whining and we want the red carpet rolled out and we're complaining. Like you don't know, you can't imagine. Like I'm telling you, like my kids just go to school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Right. Right.
School. Like it's so different. It's really hard and sad a lot. You
And
know?
people take for granted
Yeah.
like the fight. I think I always said everybody should have an opportunity to raise somebody like Jack.
Yes.
The superintendent of the district, a politician, everybody should have an opportunity to see the world through this lens because it changes things.
Mm-hmm.
We take nothing for granted.
Nothing. I take nothing. I'm telling you, and this people will nod at this. Every sporting event I go to or concert or whatever for my children, I do a story and I say, I am so lucky to be here. I say it every time. You'll notice now because I know what I had to do, the mountains I had to move to get to this Christmas concert today for Winnie.
Right.
You know, you get it. And it's like, I am so lucky to be here. And so when people complain about things, I'm just like, isn't it great to be here?
I know.
Be here.
Well, so today we
Need it.
Amos went to bed late last night. So this morning we set the alarm 6:50. He was like totally tired. I was tired. I was like, you know what? We're going back to sleep. Texted the teacher, we're tired. We're going back to sleep. So we get to school at like 11:20 because
Oh,
we
you did?
missed.
You did bring him?
Oh yeah, we got there by 11:30. You know, then you're counted
Oh, we
present. That's the North Carolina
can't do
law.
late.
Well,
Good for you.
so we've never done late either before because it's always been a problem. So this week we have gone late and we have worn a Band-Aid. We have two very big successes in the
So you mean
Woodhouse.
going late because Cooper doesn't like to go late and Amos doesn't, or the school doesn't
Because
allow?
it's the whole day. No, the children. It's like it's thrown. You might as well say like today instead of driving to school, we're going to
Yeah.
ride bicycles.
I'm
A unicorn.
whole day is like he does everything. It has to be in order. And like, literally his teacher emailed me like a couple days ago and it's like, just so you know, in 2 weeks, we're moving music to third period. Could you start preparing him? And I'm like, no.
And we are not that to that degree, but we do better to stay on our schedule. So this morning I was sneaky though. He got up and at 10:30 and I was like pretending it was 7. I was like, okay, you got to eat breakfast. I stayed on the 7th. I even pulled up to the front of the school where you're not supposed to park, where we drop off.
But didn't he get there at lunchtime?
He got there at 11:30, but I was like, I didn't bring it up. I didn't say what time it was.
So does he tells time? I would assume he tells time. Oh no.
No.
Oh, because Jackson.
Amos, what time is it? What time is it? He said.
So Kate, yesterday I was talking to Adrian. She was in the car, and I can hear him. He talks a lot. You know, he's always sort of talking.
Stop talking.
And so I
It's like a minor bird.
like I don't want to cut him off. And Adrian, I'm on speaker, and she's like, just keep talking.
Yeah, I mean, she's like pausing, and I was like, oh my gosh, there is no reason to stop talking.
You'll never get
He's
anywhere.
been talking for 12 hours.
But I thought I heard him say my name. That's not possible, right? I thought I heard him say
Oh, he might have. He repeats.
Yeah.
He repeats what I say if he doesn't have anything new to say.
Okay. Oh, it's fascinating. I've
Like
got
a
to
question.
meet.
What time is it? He doesn't know. So then he just repeats the question.
Jack had that too.
Is
That echolale.
The echolale.
Yeah, Jack.
Well, he doesn't have echolale anymore. He did have that. This is just when he doesn't know the answer.
Okay.
I don't want to stop this conversation, but I do have to jump off. But I know you wanted funny, so I'm going to leave you with.
Oh, good.
Because you guys know.
Because last week your story was so good.
I've been talking about it
the
for days.
Autism Out Loud video was
The funniest ever.
It's pretty funny.
it's a pretty free entertainment.
Yes,
from
stop
charity.
over.
It was very good.
And then I texted you guys the next day. You said you peed your pants.
Best mother ever.
Nobody's shouting that for me ever.
We're going to.
We're going to show up. We'll be there.
Hand over my cold body.
I'm gonna
Start
hold up the
shouting
window.
things. Start shouting, and like, if you could get pom poms involved, that'd be awesome. I'd be all for that.
Mhm.
Okay, tonight. Okay, I've talked to you about how Joe wants to really get Jack on this budget. So for the uninitiated, Jack is 20. He's in a college support program, and we're working very hard on having him understand money. So Jack is savvy, and Joe has him on this budget. So Jack will text me from the movies, like at the movies.
So what do you mean when you say on a budget? He gets a monthly allowance, a weekly
gets a
allowance? How do you do it?
He gets a weekly allowance. I believe it's it's way more than he needs. It's like $75.
So it's not his rent or bills.
No, none of
It's
that.
fun money.
It's
Then
just
what is
fun
his
money.
paycheck?
His paycheck. Oh, he squirrels that away for himself.
I love it.
It might be less. It might be 50. We might. Yeah, so anyway, so he'll text me and say like, at the movies, no money for a snack. So today he texts me. My 20-year-old son texts me. I need new underwear. Okay.
Yeah.
I write, that's fine. Buy some. Too expensive. I said, how much is it? $24. I said, well, how many pairs? 6. Just buy